and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of December 13th. I'm Terry Morrow, and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast, we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. Well, we took a little week off last week from talking about Ted Lasso just to, relax our minds and prepare our palates for the second season. And so this week we are returning to season 2 of Ted Lasso, and we watched 2 episodes this week. Episode 1, Goodbye, Earl, and episode 2, Lavender. So we'll talk about these separately, I guess, but I imagine they're going to bleed on to each other. Mm-hmm. Speaking of bleeding onto each other, when I heard the title Goodbye, Earl, I immediately thought of the Chicks song of the same name that involved killing an abusive husband. Not the case here, though. There was something bleeding. That is for sure. R.I.P. the mascot.
R.I.P. Greyhound Earl.
Was that their team's mascot?
Yeah.
Had we seen him before?
I don't believe we had.
Yes. I mean, apologies to Earl, man. I never noticed you, which makes me think you're sort of a plot device, but whatever. Yeah. I knew as soon as I saw that bird land on the grass that something was going to happen. I didn't expect that. And in fact, I didn't even realize what had happened until it was talked about later. So anyway, Danny makes a kick that unfortunately nails the team mascot Greyhound, who was just at that moment completely coincidentally trying to chomp down on a bird in not high enough flight. So it was a convergence of violent events that I imagine the bird didn't come out too well either. But ultimately, Danny killed a dog with a soccer ball. And now, rather than saying soccer is life, he feels like soccer is death. And he takes long showers in fully clothed and, lots of praying. So they diagnose him as having I won't say the word because Ted would be upset, but that thing where athletes forget how to do the thing that they know how to do. And a psychiatrist is brought in, a truly delightful addition to the cast, I think. It could have gone many different ways, but this was a very Ted Lasso-y way for it to go.
Yes.
She's just, how would we describe her?
Well, she's like very no nonsense. And she's very extremely capable. Like, is so good at her job. Yes. She speaks English, French, and Spanish, as far as we know. Probably everything else as too. Well. Yes. So she kind of blows Ted away with her. Yes. With her abilities and, immediate connection that she establishes with all of the players.
Yes. But she's not like lording it over him, or she's just a very kind of doesn't show her cards a lot, but every now and then she gives a little smile. So I think she's amused by him, but not going to particularly let on. And she gives him some very good advice that eventually turns the team around, except that's in the second episode. But anyway, in the immediate event, she miraculously, in like one session, I think, heals Danny of his fear of kicking the ball. So she is, as she says, very good at her job. And probably could use to have a session with every single character on this show. And additionally, does she have some time for me? And her presence also leads to the predictable but still delightful sight gag of Higgins, who has given her his office, working in just random places all around the building.
Right. With he has like a cardboard box and a little canister of pens.
Yes, and a plant.
He just tries to set up anywhere and everywhere.
Incredibly good-natured about it. And it's like every time you see it, you go, well, this is silly. And then they do it again. And it's like, well, that's pretty funny. And then at the end, when they have this talk and then you pan over and Higgins is sitting right there. It's very fun. How do you feel about everybody liking each other now? It's just like, I mean, it's too bad that Danny killed a dog, but other than that, I mean, I guess this is a theme for these first 2 episodes a little bit, that everybody likes each other a little too much, but we're all sitting around, Higgins and Rebecca and Keely and Ted, and just chatting and fraternizing like crazy with no tension at all.
Right.
A little weird, a little hard to get used to.
Mm-hmm.
Although Nate has taken on a sour disposition, so I guess that's one change in the other way.
Yeah, he is definitely he seems to be threatened by he's either threatened by the guy that took over for him, or he's just a control freak and he just cannot abide the way that this person does things.
Right. And that laps over. Why don't we just talk about what the basic plot description of Lavender, because I'm going to be naming scenes that I'm not sure which episode they were in, because I watched them one right after the other. Mm-hmm. Lavender involved, well, I guess the title comes from Nate's replacement doing things like using fabric softener and, putting pineapple flavoring in the water, which Nate does not approve. Though why he would feel so threatened by that when he has a much better gig now. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's going on there. Yo, psychiatrist lady, what is her name? Right.
Or is it like superstition, that we've always done it this way, we can't be changing things. Right. Although, the point too is that they have played like 7 games and they have tied every single one. So clearly something needs to change.
Right. Which is what the psychiatrist says to Ted eventually. Right. That, I'm impressed by the rapport everybody has, they can speak up, the communication is good and all of that, which is fine as long as everybody's happy with ties. So Ted knows he has to do something. And earlier in the episode, another thread of this episode is Jamie. Jamie, hi, Jamie. How you doing? Not so good, as it turns out. He's on some terrible sounding reality show.
Yes. Although
hilarious for Roy sitting down to watch this show with his yoga lady friends and Jamie. But then when he comes back from the reality show, he had quit the team to do it. The team he was on doesn't want him back. And in fact, no team wants him back. So he kind of goes hat in hand to Ted, and Ted says, you know what? I don't think that would be a good idea. But a photo is taken of the 2 of them talking because, of course. And then the whole team is mad that Ted would let Jamie back, and he assures them, no, that was not the plan. That's not going to happen. And then the psychiatrist mentioned, gee, y'all get along so well. Don't suppose that would have anything to do with the fact that you can't seem to win a game. And he brings Jamie in. So, hey, Jamie's back. Hi, Jamie.
Right.
That should go fine. But Sam was particularly upset about it because I guess he's...
Just because Jamie had treated Sam so terribly.
So it will be interesting to see, number one, is this a different Jamie? Because he's been subdued in a lot of his contacts that we've seen. Mm-hmm. He was his normal self on the terrible looking reality TV show, but in actual life, he's been very respectful to Keely, and he's been, seems subdued. So maybe he's changed.
And he did make the extra pass in the game against Richmond. That was at the end of last season. So Ted, poked a slight hole in his.
Yes, he did. And if he has not totally changed at this point, can we schedule him sessions with the psychiatrist lady ASAP? Because we know there are daddy issues. She'll have a lot to work with. So that's what happened at the end as he came on. So that's going to end our run of shiny, happy, everybody getting alongness, probably. Meanwhile, Roy Kent just continues to be the most adorable effing fellow. And his coaching of the little girls was hilarious. Now, who is the lady? Speaking of like extremely capable women getting it done on this show, who is is she his assistant coach or just whatever her function was? She's fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't know if she's meant to be, if she's like another parent of kids on the team, or is she a teacher? or what the deal is with her. But yeah, she's
like not shocked and upset. She's just letting him know, you can't do that. You can't say that, even though it's true. And just when she says, yeah, I got yelled at like that by coaches, but I knew what was it? She said exactly. They liked me or wanted to be there or something. And then he turns around and he gives this lovely little speech to the girls. That's so nice. Get her, sign her up. She could help out somewhere. I enjoyed her, just that little tiny part. And also May had one little appearance of getting things done as well.
May, the pub
even if it's only shutting up a bunch of drunks.
Yes.
She knows what to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So lots going on. I felt like, were there more pop culture references in these episodes than in the usual episodes? It just seemed to me like every other line from Ted was calling on some pop culture reference. Maybe it was always that way. Maybe I just didn't really stick out
to me, but that doesn't necessarily mean
it just
anything.
seemed to be constant. But not terrible. I enjoyed the episodes.
Yeah.
I'm happy that Roy told Rebecca, not this guy. Seriously, not this guy.
They went on a double date. Rebecca.
He was indeed fine.
Yeah. Rebecca and Keely and Roy and this guy. And at the end, Roy was just like, he's fine. And you are so much more than fine. So
what he said to her was so sweet, in his particular way, but still, gosh, what an interesting character he is. I enjoy him. I enjoy him both with a shaggy beard and groomed up.
And the other Roy plot point was that he went on TV for the first time, as they kept calling him a pundit, basically a sports commentator, which I guess
the athlete on the panel that they always seem to have, the retired athlete, and most of them probably want to speak exactly as Roy did. That was delightful.
He actually did. He just let it fly, and of course it was well received because except by do they have an equivalent of the FCC in Britain? Would find them a large amount of money, but surely they can get a bleeper, right? I know, yeah. Just record him
have somebody on hand.
Delay. It should be
exactly, because he can't not talk like that. That's just the way he talks. He talks like that when he's mad, and he talks like that when he's just talking.
Like that to 9-year-olds. So
that's right. And they're all just fine, They
don't mind.
Here, take your own trophies. Okay. So fun to be back with these folks. I don't know where things are going, but I know a few where things are going because I accidentally saw things, but in general, glad to have it back. Yeah. Fun to be watching it again. And looking forward. How many episodes did we decide are in this season?
There are 12.
I also particularly loved just a line that I wrote down because I would like to use it in future, is when Roy says to Keely, I'm going to hire a bunch of children to run behind you saying, I told you so.
Yes.
Not a threat that you will have to act on because in fact she was right, but still.
Yes,
that's a pretty good threat. Mm-hmm. And he conveniently has a gang of children that probably would do his bidding.
Exactly. Could do that in a heartbeat.
Not an idle threat, but she was right, of course.
Yes, and she was right that he would actually enjoy doing the punditing, as they called it.
Yes. Very cute couple.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a feeling less happy days are ahead for many of the people who are getting along so well for these 2 weeks, but we shall see. Next week, we're going to watch season 2, episode 3, Do the Rightest Thing, and episode 4, Carol of the Bells. Is that going to be about a lady named Carol who shakes a cowbell in the stands? You shall see. And that is going to be it for our round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody.